Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranja Yashodanandana Vraja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Yashodanandana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can start the Mangalacharya. Vishnushaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Devi Satyajatari Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namachatyam Naram Devam Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Pradire. Before the reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayana. Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, Nashtaprayeshu bhakteshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttamam shloke bhaktir bhavati naishiki all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving Sudarshan, the personality of God, who is guided by the command of song, to shut up his attention to those who go back. I was born in darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sorry.
So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Verse 29. Can open that and we can recite it first. Vakti Bhagavat Guna Namadhitam Chetas Chana Smrati Tak Charanarvindam Krishnaya Namati Chiral Ekadapi Tan Ananya Dhyama Asota Kita Vishnu Krityam
Jivanavakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam Chetasya Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Krishnaya no namati yachira ekadapi
Krishnaya no namati ekadapi
Tan anayatavam asato krita Vishnu kirtyam
Tananayudam Asado Krita Vishnu Krityam Jivanavakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Chetasya smrati taccharanarvindam
Chetasya Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Krishnaya no namati yachira ekadapi
Krishnaya no namati yasharayadapi Tan anyadham asado krita Vishnu krityam
Jivanavakti Bhagavad Namadeyam
Jivanavakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Chetaschanas Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Chetascharanasmrati Taccharanarvindam
Krishnaya no namati yashchira ekadapi
Krishnaya no namati yasharayadapi
asato krita Vishnu kirtyam
Tananyado yasto Krishna krityam
Jivanavakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam
Just wanted to finish the whole thing. Okay, the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jiva,
Jiva,
the tongue,
the tongue,
na,
not,
bhakti,
bhakti, chants,
Bhagavata,
Bhagavat,
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Guna,
transcendental qualities,
transcendental qualities,
Nama,
Nama,
and the holy name,
and the holy name,
Dhyam,
Dhyam,
imparting,
Cheta,
the
heart,
Cha, also, Na,
not,
Samadhi,
Smriti,
remembers, Tat,
Tad,
is,
Charanarvindam,
lotus feet,
Krishnaya,
unto Lord Krishna,
unto
through his deity in the temple,
unto Lord Krishna through his deity in the temple,
No,
no,
not,
not,
Namati,
Namati,
bows,
bows,
yat,
yat,
whose,
whose,
shira,
shira,
head,
head,
ekada api,
ekadapi,
even once,
tan,
them,
them,
anayadham,
anadvayam,
bring before me,
bring before me,
asata,
asata,
the non-devotee,
non-devotee,
akrata,
akrata,
not performing,
Vishnu
Vishnu
Kritya,
duties towards Lord Vishnu.
duties towards Lord Vishnu.
My dear servants, please bring to me only those sinful persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose hearts do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, and whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform their duties towards Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. The word Vishnu, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Vishnu Kritya is very important in this verse because the purpose of human life is to please Lord Vishnu. Varnashram Dharma is also meant for that purpose. As stated in the Vishnu Purana 389, Varnashrama Purushena Parapunam Vishnur Aradhyata Panta Nanyatatusho Karna. Human society is meant to follow strict Varnashrama Dharma, which divides the society into 4 social divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and 4 spiritual divisions: Brahmachari, Grasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. Varnashram Dharma easily brings one near to Lord Vishnu, who is the one true objective in human society. Nate Vidu Swartha Gatem Hi Vishnu. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.31. Unfortunately, however, people do not know that their self-interest is to return home back to Godhead or to approach Lord Vishnu. Durasaya ye bahir artha maninam. Instead, they are simply bewildered. Every human being is expected to perform duties meant for approaching Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Yamaraj advises the Yamadutas to bring him those persons who have forgotten their duties towards Vishnu. Artha Vishnu Kritam. One who does not chant the holy name of Vishnu Krishna, who does not bow down to the deities of Vishnu, and who does not remember the lotus feet of Vishnu is punishable by Yamaraj. In summary, all Vaishnavas, persons unconcerned with Lord Vishnu, are punishable by Yamaraj. So, through this chapter, again, there is one thing that first strikes to me is the fact that, how Bhagavad Gita has given us the knowledge. And we are able to relate between the knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita and the expansion of it with examples, and so that we are able to relate in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I've given you the knowledge which is full and complete in itself. Then we might ask ourselves, why does Srimad Bhagavatam exist, or why do other scriptures exist? It's because by reading these descriptions of different devotees and their conversations, we are able to understand better what Bhagavad Gita is trying to explain. Right? Let's take an example. When Bhagavad Gita says in 9:14, Satatam Kirtayantu Mam Yatantasya Darikamata, when Krishna is saying that always keep chanting about me, always chant about my glories, what does it mean? Why is it Krishna saying all of that? We can see and relate it to Srimad Bhagavatam and understand in the sense of where in this verse, for example, it says, one who is not chanting the names of Krishna is the one who will never approach him. And then even in there are different other verses which also explains the fact that the objective or the benefit of chanting is to attain devotional service. And where again in Bhagavad Gita 12:20, Krishna very clearly articulates and says, those who perform devotional service are very dear to me. We read that in Bhagavad Gita. It's very clearly articulating that. And again over here, it is established that as a fact. This entire chapter and the chapter before is talking about Ajamil, of how, because of association of devotees, he once chanted the name of the Lord. But chanting the name of the Lord, he was able to get his original intelligence back, his original remembrance back, and then he performed devotional service. So chanting needs to be done for clarity or cleanliness of our heart, so that we are able to come to the point of devotional service. That's very clearly, the two gets connected very nicely. In the similar ways, again, this chapter in particular is also again focusing on the two verses that we read in chapter 4 from Bhagavad Gita, wherein verse 2 first he says, Evam param param prapte. The knowledge has to be attained through bona fide spiritual masters who are representing the knowledge given by Krishna transparently. And then in the 34th verse also it is said, Tadviti paripatena pariprashna sevaya. We're supposed to be going to such an authorized person, asking questions and then clarifying your doubts. Because we might not have understood things correctly, we might have not understood the practical application of the knowledge that we are getting. We might think we are amazing, we have a lot of knowledge, but we don't. That's why we are in the material state, right? So what's happening in this case over here? The Yamadutas thought that Yamaraj is the ultimate supreme, and if they are serving him, they have the supreme authority, and anybody who is sinful, they are able to go and fetch that soul and bring it in front of the Yamaraj, but they were stopped. And now when their authority was challenged by the Vishnu Dutas, they are bewildered and under the question saying, what is happening over here? And what did they do? They're doing exactly what Bhagavad Gita said. They went to the authority and questioned. So that is how, very easily in every case we'll be able to relate between Bhagavad Gita and what is happening in Srimad Bhagavatam. So not just reading one scripture, but reading all of the scriptures that Srimad Prabhupada given us as a full package becomes essential for this very reason. Even today morning when we were reading the Shishtastakam, the same first verse talking about the glories of Sankirtana and associated benefits of it. All of these things are different ways. Now, we eat food, it gives us nourishment, right? A very nice, well-balanced, created meal of yours is very nice, it's good, healthy, fulfilling, everything. But still you cannot keep having it every day. We need a little bit of variety, right? That's our nature. We cannot just be focused in one way of doing things. So, different scriptures are presenting the very same science in different ways, because sometimes we get just too used to hearing things in a particular way, and then a different description of it when you think, I'm not understanding it or implementing it correctly. And that is why the full package that Srila Prabhupada is very mercifully given us is applicable on this. Okay, now let's look at what's happening over here in this case. Now let's first, so who's the speaker over here? The speaker is Yamaraj, right? So the first question that arises is, who's Yamaraj? So we know Yamaraj as being the Lord of Death, the one who's claiming all the souls, and the Yamadutas goes and grabs these souls, drag them out. There's amazing descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam about how these souls are dragged out of the body and they're shouting and screaming, leave me, but they will be grabbed. So that is how we mostly know Yamaraj as. But there's an amazing aspect about Yamaraj also, which comes in as being in Mahajana. So who are the Mahajanas? There are 12 Mahajanas in total, and that also is being mentioned. What's the number? Yeah, 20th and 21st. So 20th and 21st verse of this very same chapter is talking about the Mahajanas. Mahajanas are ones who understand the scriptures very well, who understand what dharma or the duty exactly means, who are able to very clearly identify and tell you that what is right and what is wrong. They are authorities to be able to guide and say, you are right, you are wrong, and what's supposed to be. They fully understand dharma, right? And who are these Mahajanas? Again, so there are 12 such Mahajanas that the same chapter is telling us. The first one is Brahma, then it's Narada, then it's Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Shwambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Bhishma Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and Yamaraj. These are the four authorities to tell us. Now it is, if Yamaraj has been given the duty of kind of giving the judgment based on our own karmas and decide what destination we are supposed to be going to based on saying you did this right, you did this wrong, he obviously has to be authoritative and knowledge enough. So he's obviously a Mahajan. Right? And through these Mahajanas and their characteristics and their life, we are able to very easily understand, what is the right path one has to be taken. Let's say what Yamaraj is saying in this particular case. He's saying that his domain of punishing exists for those people who do not use their tongue to chant. That's the first one. You're using the tongue for any other purposes, but not using it for chanting the glories and the holy names of the Lord, then you fall under the review of Yamaraj's, jurisdiction. Also, who in their heart do not remember Krishna is the second aspect that this verse is talking about. And then third is do not perform their duties, the duties that is meant for the humans, and which is to serve the Lord. There are three criteria and which, if it's not being met, you fall under the bucket of Yamaraj. And then Yamaraj is, and again there are very detailed descriptions in multiple Puranas where it talks about how the soul travels from leaving the body to going to Yamaraj and how they ultimately go up and going into the next body based on their karmas, and how there are again descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam about all these hellish planets, which talks about depending on what you did wrong, where are you going to go, and all of those come under the domain of Yamaraj. Right? But Yamaraj is a Vaishnava. He's a Mahajana. He's the one who's guiding us and showing us with example what needs to be done. In this particular case, he's explaining Yamadutas that you're supposed to be anybody who's chanting, anybody who's remembering the Lord, anybody who's serving the Lord, you cannot touch them. You cannot. They are not. What does that mean? That Yamadutas cannot touch them, which means they are not subjected to the same laws as any conditioned soul is. Because either they are liberated completely or they are on the path of liberation. They are the devotees of the Lord. They do not fall under the same purview of the modes of material nature and its laws and are not subject to the same karmic reactions as anybody else is. Now this entire Leela of Ajamil is very commonly used to glorify the chanting process. Just by one utterance of the Lord's name, you are delivered. But is it true? If that is true for sure, then why don't we just sit down over here, collectively meditate on Krishna and chant amazingly that one name of the Lord and we are done? Why do we keep doing all of the processes of sadhana bhakti again and again and again and again in repetition? So the glories of the Lord's holy name and glories about chanting the holy name of the Lord is no less than what is being described over here. Let's just understand that as a fact. Right? The one catch, when we put a star and say terms and conditions apply, one catch of course is the fact is the pure utterance with love of the name of the Lord. That's first fact. I think that is discussed multiple times. It's not just, even if one is jokingly, Srila Prabhupada says that in different purposes, even if one jokingly or in a funny manner says the name of the Lord, they still get the benefit of it. But when we are talking about that one name utterance of the Lord or puts you on the path of deliverance, that is a pure loving utterance. This is one thing that I'm remembering as Srila Prabhupada's Leela is, when Srila Prabhupada's movement started getting more and more famous, when he came to the Western countries, and all the hippies started picking up this movement. A lot of the initial times, what used to be happening is Srila Prabhupada would move in a park or any other places. There was most of the audience that were coming in and participating in kirtans and dancing were hippies. They would have drugs, they would have drinks, they would have all of those things. But they will come and chant and dance with Srila Prabhupada. His purity would attract them. And in that moment, this And there was this one movie in which there was one song which kind of, if you look at it from one perspective, would be mocking, because they're showing all of these different drug addicts and drunk people going and dancing it, and they think this is the lifestyle, which means, you know, the Harinam and drugs going well together. That is what kind of the presentation of it becomes. And then some devotees went and asked Srila Prabhupada, what is this happening? This is misrepresentation. This is not what your teaching is. What are people doing? This is an offense. And Srila Prabhupada says, it's okay. Because even through that mockery of that in that song, people are ending up chanting on the names of the Lord. And they will get benefit out of that also. For those who are not able to clearly see, this is help them to go even to that kind of audience who do not believe and they just kind of mock, but they want to mock, sure, but they ultimately end up chanting the Lord's name. So, what this means is that Ajamil, in the case of, in the case, his chanting was pure. For our perspective, what is pure chanting means that we have to make sure that we are defending ourselves from the Nama Aparats. In the morning we chant the 10 offenses against the Nama Aparat. So that is, we have to safeguard ourselves from those, and then basically the process of chanting is nothing but a prayer, asking for devotional service. And when that devotional service is granted to you, we are supposed to be grabbing that devotional service. And once we do that, that is what takes us to the path of liberation. So, is chanting strong enough? Yes, it is, because it is helping you open the door of going into devotional service to fully surrendering to the Lord and ultimately going back to Godhead. So in that case, yes, it is super powerful. But then we cannot just say that chanting by itself is what we are going to do and anything around it is not what makes sense. You had something.
Ajamil's chanting wasn't pure, it was just inoffensive at that time, out of anxiety.
So his Sukruti from, he was born in a Brahmanical family and from his childhood he was trained. So he had this strong Sukruti within him, right? We cannot just say any sinful person is on the same level without understanding the fact that Ajamil had a lot of Sukruti that he had built up by taking birth into a Brahmanical family and getting trained. That is why his cry for Narayan was purely asking for help, fully surrendering, please help me, right? But we also have to understand the terms and conditions over here, which is that this is a causeless mercy. That Ajamil got that second chance. This is one who got second chance also. He got that second chance because it was a causeless mercy. We can debate on the fact that such a fallen person did not chant properly. He was not even calling Krishna. He was just calling his son and so on and so forth. But Krishna accepted that. That is what matters. Why does he accept somebody's and somebody's not? That he knows. We don't. Right? That is what is causeless mercy.
But then he knew that his son is not going to help him, or not capable of helping him.
I don't know of Srila Prabhupada saying did he know that his son will be able to help or not. But what he says is of course the fact that his call for Narayan was pure. And that is why he was given that causeless mercy. But Krishna does not have to follow rules. He does not have to say, yes, you qualify for this loan or not. He does not have a checklist in front of him by saying, he can do whatever he wants. What we have to understand is the fact is like, sometimes we also see this. There's a homeless person out there. And somebody comes and drops a $100 bill in their cup. Ooh. I don't need to work. I'm going to stand right here. People come and give $100 bills. Even if I get 2 per day and in 30 days I have a $6,000 done, fantastic. No need to work. But that, how many times do homeless people get that $100 bill? Very rarely. Very, very, very rarely. Right? Can we base our own endeavor and future just on that one person who randomly showed mercy? No. In the same way, Krishna is telling us what is supposed to be done. He describes the process to us in detail. But he does also, out of causeless mercy, give somebody benefits. Why he does that, he only knows. But we should not be just saying, I'm here, I will do whatever I want. Maybe when Krishna gives me causeless mercy, things are going to happen, till then I can do whatever I want. That does not work. And even in this case, as I was saying, Ajamil got the causeless mercy, but he did have to go through the full process of devotional service, fully dedicated to that, as it's described in this chapter itself. Only then he became eligible, not just by causeless mercy also. The causeless mercy that we have already received is the association of devotees. Is this bona fide scripture that Srila Prabhupada has given. That is the causeless mercy Krishna has already given us. Life is given us. Now he took up that opportunity, that second chance, and started performing devotional services to how Krishna wanted, following his instructions completely, and he achieved success. And we are supposed to be doing the same. Right? Okay. So now that brings us to the point of the fact that just the fact that we are chanting itself is not sufficient. The devotional service aspect is also important. Why? Because again, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned this multiple times and we repeat it again and again. Knowledge is good, but knowledge without action is useless. Taking actions is good, but taking actions without knowledge is useless. So we have to be knowledgeable and we are supposed to be taking actions. And in that way, we are supposed to be taking up the full process of sadhana. We are not supposed to be picking up one thing from here, and trying to create ourselves. He got liberated just by doing this. He got liberated just by doing this. You know, there are so many cases in which just by getting Mahaprasad, somebody became a devotee. Just by smelling the smelling the tulsi that was offered at the feet of the Lord, somebody became a personalist and became devotees. But those are all different ways in which mercy was given. We have also been given that. We're supposed to be just taking that out. So, now, the devotional service aspect has been emphasized enough. But then what is the process of this devotional service? That should be the next question. And when I was reading this purport in particular, first read the verse and then read the purport, like why is Srila Prabhupada talking about Varnashram dharmas when the verse is talking about glories of chanting in one sense? Or even if we take it extend further, it's devotional service, why is he talking about Varnashram? And that is when it probably struck to me of how merciful and amazing and expert Srila Prabhupada is. You know, throughout the chapter and throughout the verses, that aspect of the glories of the name has been established. Now, Srila Prabhupada mercifully wants us to know what has to be done. How many of us are working and have meetings in offices? Right? So when we are doing meetings, or for that matter, even when you're meeting out as friends to each other out, right? We have to have in our conversation something as an actionable takeaway. Otherwise, we wasted time. We keep talking. Let's say for example, we are doing the Festival of India, Rath Yatra preparation meeting right now, and we keep talking about all the wonderful things. So Jagannath is so merciful, he comes and blesses so many things. All that mercy needs to go, etc., etc., etc. But what is at the end of the meeting? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to do it? Is that aspect as a takeaway of that meeting not important? That is probably the most important thing because that is the meeting is to derive to that. What are we supposed to do? Right? That takeaway. That is what is the most important aspect. So Srila Prabhupada over here very mercifully is focusing on how are we supposed to be coming to the platform of doing devotional service properly and executing it properly. These are the takeaways of the verses that Srila Prabhupada very mercifully, very expertly is giving us. That's my realization, and probably other devotees might have other realizations, but that's how I see how grateful I am to Srila Prabhupada for all of these amazing purports that he's given us. So, one of the things that we have established is the fact that, from this entire chapter is we are supposed to be approaching an authorized person, a speaker, to be able to get the knowledge, which is what the Yamadusa did in this case. But to know the process of doing, from them what are we supposed to be getting is the processes. which in this case is the Varnashram Dharma. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is emphasizing about the 4 social divisions, which are the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, and the 4 spiritual divisions, which are the Brahmacharis, Grasthas, Vanaprasthas and Sannyasis. One question, if I may ask, is where did all of this come from? Where is this coming from? Like, who started creating this? And that aspect is very clearly been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. You've read that verse. In chapter 4, verse 13, very clearly he says that Krishna says that I am the one who has created this system. So for anybody who has a misconception in mind that this concept of division in this society is incorrect, imperfect, then let's just understand the fact that it's been created by Krishna, it has to be perfect. Its implementation and understanding might be imperfect, but the process itself is perfect. Okay? And how is that Krishna wanted it to be implemented, this division of the society? He says, Guna Karma Vibhasam. He's saying that it is based on the actions derived out of the 3 modes of material nature. He says, according to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, should the division of the society be done. Now, what does that mean? We know this, every individual has their individuality, has their own particular way of thinking, a particular way of doing things, and a particular way of executing or accepting particular things. Right? Krishna is mercifully over here creating a system in which that individuality that he has given to every individual is respected always, and not a common template is enforced on everybody. He's saying based on the nature that you have acquired over the period of time, based on that nature will you be engaged in a particular type of service, and based on that nature will you be associated with a particular division of this. So let's ask a very quick question, right? Is the division based on this, is the division in the society wrong? No, we do that always. We have divisions in clothing, this type of wear, this type of wear. We have divisions in the type of eating, this cuisine, that cuisine. We have created that divisions because people have different tastes, and to cater to everybody's taste and need, there is something that is available out there. In the similar way, when the objective and we understand is devotional service and serving the Lord, there is everybody has their own taste, and based on their taste, there is a particular way in which they can serve the Lord. That this division of the society is actually helping only to enable that.
Just brings a kind of discrimination too, and inferiority, superiority in the society.
Thank you for bringing that up. So coming on to that part is now when we are saying that the division of the society is only based on qualities of individuals and engaging them appropriately in the qualities, then aren't we talking about one is superior, one is inferior? The baseline is all of these qualities. Now this is where it becomes very interesting. Based on the qualities, when you are engaging everybody is engaged in the service of the Lord. Everybody is a Vaishnava. They're all equal. Is there a difference between a devotee who does cooking services in the temple versus deity worship in the temple versus who's just helping put the chairs together versus who's doing Sankirtan versus probably somebody walking the floor? There's no difference. Everybody is engaged in the service of the Lord. Why do people start creating this thing? And even we'll come to this part of the Varnashram Dharma in a second, but even within the temple, we create this division in our mind by saying, oh, we do worship, big service. I'm just washing pots. Right? That division is created because of our bodily consciousness. That division does not exist. The baseline, the entire process of Varnashram Dharma is to enable people to be able to get engaged into service. What do you like? You like singing, you like dancing, you like cooking. Based on that, come, get engaged in the service of the Lord. The objective is service of the Lord and not the service itself. Right? So in that sense, because why do we start calling somebody as you're doing better services, higher services, and you're doing lower services? That is our own contamination of heart. But now here is the terms and condition associated with that, the catch. The catch is the division has been created for a reason by Krishna. Now let's pick up a service of cooking, for example, or singing for that matter. Right? There are devotees who sing well, play instrument very well. Somebody like me was like a crow and sing. Right? So when it comes to Kirtan, doing Kirtan, Sunday feast program, Kirtan happening very nicely, who should be doing the Kirtan? The one who does it nicely. But does it mean if we are ignoring others who don't know? They also have an opportunity to learn and come to the point of learning and coming to the point of doing it so nicely that you are able to do Kirtan over there. So there is equality, but there is still division. And that division is based on qualities, your skills, and your capabilities. The two aspects to over here. That division will always be there and has to be there always. That who is more skilled versus who is not that particular skill in a particular given thing. But it also comes with the condition that everybody has an opportunity to gain that skill and improve. So the entire Varnashram Dharma, so if you are saying the Shudra you are the lowest of all and Brahmanas you are the highest of all, that is based on not as being you are superior and you are inferior, but that is purely based on your qualities of goodness and your qualities of cleanliness, which help you to be able to perform services such as deity worship or being a teacher. Right? All of those qualities are needed. A clean person is the only one who can do deity worship. You cannot go and just be untidy and unclean and enter the altar and do deity worship. But that does not mean we are stopping people from getting clean and then entering the altar. There is a difference. Yes.
If young people have been given a chance at least to get purified to come to that level.
He did.
He just was asked not to continue that thing and then.
Yes. So now that is being attached to a particular way of doing. Thank you for bringing that up again. That was my next point. Why this entire division is also being done and what we are supposed to be doing. Now Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says something very clearly. Perform the duties based on your own guna, based on your qualities, even if you are doing it imperfectly. It is better to do that than doing somebody else's duty. As that Ramji said very clearly in Bhagavad Gita, it has been, right? So, when your authority is telling based on your things, this is what you should do, and be saying, no, I don't want to do this, I want to do something else, that's not full surrender. So, in the examples that we are talking about, that did not happen. But that did not happen because of a larger reasoning where there was a Leela that has to be created and everything has to be created. Everybody is playing their part of sometimes being ignorant, like Arjuna is on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken. But the fact, for us, the lesson is that, we have to understand the fact that there are people out there who are there as best well-wishers, who are trying to engage us, neutrally assessing us and engaging us accordingly, and we should take up the process that they're giving us. That ego that is within us is the one that is causing us to think, oh, you are segregating me to another bucket. I don't want to be here. I don't like it. It's equivalent to saying that when we are trying to do services, and there are seniors in the temple who come and guide us, and say, you did right, you did wrong, there is a sense of improvement. We can take, for a second, it will probably happen, but we have to, with intelligence, understand the fact that it is for your benefit. If somebody is coming and correcting us, a devotee, senior devotee is coming and correcting us or guiding us, it is for our own benefit. They don't get anything, they don't get a cashback for every instruction they give. Right? So that's what you.
During Draupadi's young Karan was there, he was capable enough to do the task, and he was a great yoga too.
Yes.
Still, Krishna discriminated.
He did not.
He wasn't given a chance to prove himself, whereas the Pandavas were very attire everybody has their own service allocated to them. Even Maya Devi, she shies away and does not stand in front of Krishna, shies away behind a tree, saying, oh, my service is to bewilder people and take them away from Krishna. What kind of service am I doing? But she does. She does not complain about it. She can say, what kind of inferior service you have given to me? She does not say that. She is engaged in her own service. The point here is that when a service is allocated to you, it could be against your desires, but a service allocated is a service allocated. Instruction should be done. That is what Varnashram Dharma is. When you are, again, the quality today at this stage that is not so perfectly understood and done, but the astrological process when you were born and the entire horoscope chart has been created, the astrological prediction as they call it was done. It is not a prediction. It was to tell what is your quality that you are engaged accordingly. So that it is in your best interest, where you get the least resistance. You had something to do.
Talking about correction, right? So what you saw this morning,
Yeah.
how to
So correction is good. So there are two parts. When you are being corrected, accept the correction. But when we are correcting, we also have to be intelligent to know how the correction needs to be done. Whenever a correction needs to be done, it needs to be done in a way that we do not. So there's a very simple psychological phenomenon that always happens. When somebody sees something as coming towards them unexpectedly, they treat it as a threat and they close down. Right? One way is, Prabhu, what are you doing? Or I can go afterwards and tell him very nicely, softly, maybe you can do things differently. This is the reason. Whenever we are explaining, correcting somebody, that explanation should precede what has to be done. There are different ways. It comes in over the period of time. Right? We say, oh, that floor is dirty. Prabhu, please don't put your feet over there or don't keep things over there. The reasoning is preceding. You've created a connection. First create connection, proceed with reason, and then give instruction.
can you repeat?
First, create a relationship. Then precede your correction with the proper knowledge. Of why are you correct? What you are telling them as being incorrect, why are you telling that is incorrect? And then you say, based on this fact, it is incorrect. Can you please to try and make it different? That step is what is helping people not to shut down towards an idea, but they might just be more acceptable and more acknowledging. Right? So those are the things, and that entire thing, that is the reason why there is this entire division of society, because one who has come to the point of having a better control on senses, who has come to better understanding of the study, who's been accepting corrections and knows how correction given to them helped and did not help, has gone through that experience, is the one then who's told, okay, now you lead the society by being a Brahman. Right? Otherwise, if somebody with that egoistic mindset is given the role of a teacher, then everything is gone down. Srila Prabhupada says in today's era, democracy is fools electing fools. Because foolish people who want to run away and do things which is illegal, as electing people who will allow them to do that. Right? So that is fools electing fools. That if we do not accept the correct authority, we will be accepting foolish instructions and only becoming fools. That is why there are all these bogus gurus that exist, because we want to get bogus instructions. And we follow them and we think, okay, I'm happy. So, coming back to the original thing is, this entire division is basically for a purpose. We see that in school also, you are a grade 1, you are a grade 7, you are a grade 10. We see that in offices also, you are a junior associate, a senior associate, a manager. All of that is to orchestrate things and enable things. Right? Understand the qualities, based on that get engaged, accept the qualities of the superior, your seniors, and based on that, they will actually help you to come and raise up yourself to the order where you should be.
The idea is not to discriminate or put somebody else into a corner, but the idea is to basically engage people appropriately so that they are gradually able to enhance themselves to the point of coming to Vaishnava, and not even Vivara. Okay, so I think with that I think I can stop. We just have 2 more minutes left. If there are any questions for me, we can take a focus on that.
Thank you for the wonderful class. Can you define the concept of verb in one sentence?
One line. It's an education system.
Education.
It's like how you in education also have different subjects and grades and different ways in which you are slowly and steadily, based on the level of your knowledge, engaging people to gain more knowledge and help them come up in a very favorable way. That is what it is about.
And it can be followed by anyone like brahmachari or verse.
Everybody is supposed to follow it. That's what the verse is very clearly saying. It is the duty of every human society. Now we see contradictions in all of those things. And why do we say it's a human duty? Is because in human life is what is coming with intelligence to be able to understand the controversial point of everybody is equal when they are serving the Lord. Even the Brahmana is equal to a Shudra in that respect because they are all engaged in the service of the Lord. But then we are controversing that by saying there is discrimination also. It is only by intelligence and knowledge that we are able to understand this conflicting thing. They are not conflicting. Vedic scriptures is never conflicting. But that is why it is the duty as in the human form of life is to understand with intelligence all of those things, and that is what we are take the right guidance. Okay. Any other question?
So in IDC they teach that quadrant which says perfect authority, imperfect subordinate, like that.
Right.
It's been a while, so I forgot. But so can you give a take on that?
So it's the same thing, right? Again, it's said in the terms of marriages also and all of this. The same principle applies everywhere, right? You are in the okay. Let me put it in a different sense. Let's not do it in one for a second, right? You have a Kanishta Adhikari, you have a Madhyama Adhikari, and you have an Uttama Adhikari, right? Kanishta at the very beginning stages, Madhyama practicing now, Uttama much more advanced, right? Now, based on that quadrant thing, right? The Uttama Adhikari is supposed to be the teacher, right? But if the Kanishta Adhikari starts becoming a teacher, then you follow the quadrants where you have an imperfect teacher. The others need to be able to understand that and correct that, right? Similarly, it's kind of the combination that is the 4 combinations is talking about imperfect teacher to an imperfect student, imperfect teacher to a perfect student, and so on. What we have to understand is we have to come in the right quadrant where we understand who the correct teacher is and we have to be the correct student. Always. That is what is the being in the disciplic succession. Understand that an authorized teacher coming in from a disciplic succession, a bona fide representative of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Thakur and Krishna, to that entire parampara system is a bona fide representative of knowledge. And who is a bona fide representative of being a student is Arjuna. Let's understand from him how it's supposed to be done. Submissively surrender for corrections. He got scolded so many times in the entire Bhagavad Gita, but he accepted all of that only to come to the perfect knowledge. That's the quadrant that is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Any final question? Last? We good? Thank you so much.
Yeah.